welcome to, drum roll please, viseNvincent. A shortcut to a good time. I'm Vice.
And I'm Vincent.
And we just found out what the name of our podcast is going to be.
Yay.
Yeah. And it comes from a pretty whack place. It's not... We didn't exactly...
We didn't steal it.
No, we didn't...
I
stole it from myself, I think.
Yeah. I mean, are you okay with... Are your copyright infringements okay
Yeah,
with that?
I signed off on everything. So, viseNvincent, which I'm not going to spell it because you're going to see it when you click on this episode, dummies.
You dang straight.
Yeah, it was originally an idea I had for a bar that you and me would open up 25 years from now.
Yeah.
And the slogan was a shortcut to a good time, which just sounds... Which is like...
It's
I originally
funny.
used to describe Rounders, right? A bar in Tuscaloosa. I said it like kind of insultingly. I was like,
Yeah.
like people go to like places like Rounders just like as a shortcut to a good time.
Right.
And then I realized that
I
saying
really liked that.
is much better than I gave it credit for.
And then we were like, hey, let's open a bar in 30 years, and that'd be our slogan.
Mm-hmm. But, Hollywood makes all of these adaptions these days.
Yes.
Battleship became a movie.
Oh, Battleship.
Ouija became a movie. So we're kind of doing an adaptation ourselves. We're adapting our bar idea into a podcast.
Yeah, our non-existent bar that we wanted to open up is now a podcast.
A real podcast. And then
viseNvincent.
And then maybe in 35 years... we'll adapt the podcast into a real bar. A real bar this time.
And then we could do live shows there.
Yeah, because we will still be doing this me and Taylor will still be living together and doing this podcast 40 years from now.
And with our manager, Wilson.
Yeah, and our manager/engineer, Wilson, who is actually sitting in on this episode. We don't expect to hear from him, but...
He doesn't say much.
Just if you're listening to this episode and it has a certain Western quality to it, that's our friend Wilson.
For sure. He's got that frontier spirit.
That frontier spirit.
That we all love about him.
Mm-hmm. How's your week, Taylor?
It's been a week.
Yeah.
There's lots of things have been going on. There's always something to complain about, but I'm good. Last night I gave a talk at my church about... it was kind of like a testimonial about where I'm at with my faith and in my kind of process of where I want to go in life and, God's will and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it went really well.
That's
and
great.
I enjoyed it. I hadn't actually given a talk in a while. I've been a part of these leadership positions, and I've been delegating people, but I haven't actually given a talk in a while, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I don't have a lot to complain about, but I sure find plenty to complain about. So, kind of the opposite of you there. But it's been a good week. I started another podcast that I'm actually getting paid for with the Crimson White.
Hey, roll tide.
Yeah, so... I'm not quite going to plug that yet. I'm going to wait till I kind of get a better hold on it, and then I'll tell people about it. But if you really want to, you'd be able to find it because the first episode's already online, so...
Right, and it's, I think... Is it one of,
so they're
podcasts?
they're releasing 5 different podcasts under
Which
the
is
same...
very strange.
Yeah,
it's that's not a podcast, but whatever.
But it's great, and the
Yeah.
Crimson White is a wonderful source for news and entertainment,
Yes,
and... I'm loving the opportunity. So, oh man,
yeah,
this is all really funny. People are gonna love hearing this.
What?
I'm just
about the Crimson White?
No, just me talking about myself and stuff like that. I know that's literally what.
Isn't that why we're here? Is to talk about us?
Yeah, literally, exactly that. So I know in the first episode there was a lot of Disney talk. We watched Snow White and all that, and maybe some people were expecting that to return, and it will. It's just we're busy boys. We haven't had a chance to sit down and watch Pinocchio yet, which is next on our list, but it's coming eventually. It's just
we want to do it. It's not something we're not going to do.
Yeah, it's not something.
Do it.
This summer you're going to get annoyed with how many we're talking about, but right now it's on the back burner. But
sure.
we're going to watch it, and we're going to have Wilson watch it with us and probably be on that episode because he's scared of it.
Oh, he is? Oh, I didn't know that.
Wilson, aren't you afraid of Pinocchio? Yeah, he's shaking his head. He's like shaking.
He's actually
shaking
trembling.
like Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
Oh, we should have mentioned it. Oh, I'm sorry, Wilson.
Yeah, he's really shaking in his boots. He's also laying on Taylor's bed wearing like muddy boots, and he's just kicking it all around.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, so maybe he won't be on any episodes because maybe we're not his friend anymore.
Maybe so. But anyway.
So yeah, that's our update. We're gonna watch
Pinocchio.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Pinocchio. We promise for all you mouse heads out there.
And to comment on, like you said, having Wilson on, we definitely want to start having some guests on.
Yeah. You're gonna get some guests real soon. We've already got some
requests from some people that want to come on the show.
Paul McCartney has reached out.
Oh yeah, another one, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg wants to just tell us about his experience on the social network because he hasn't talked about it enough.
Yeah.
Patriots coach Bill Belichick is really interested.
Wants to talk about that ever since we were talking about the Super Bowl, he was like, I gotta be on that podcast.
Somebody sent him the first episode and was like, hey, you might want to listen to this, Bill. These guys sound like they know a lot about football. Maybe you want to get on
and how to win the next one.
Yeah, and how like you can make that 5-6. It's 5, right? Yeah, it is.
It's something.
It's 5.
And so he's gonna come in probably in the fall when it's like more football season,
right?
Or over the summer when like they're going through training and
that's
stuff.
That's probably the best thing. And that episode will not go up until after the season because we're going to give him like some real like strategy that we don't want.
Yeah, and we don't want to reveal it to anyone.
We don't want to reveal that playbook. Yeah,
right. Because
who else has reached out to us? Because we haven't invited anybody. We're very exclusive. We've each maybe invited one person, but tons of people are crawling out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I mean, we're receiving like thousands of fan mail letters.
Lots of fan mail.
Which is super great, but it's like, we're college students, I just throw all that away. I'm not going to respond to that. Maybe in my downtime when I, retire in 60 years.
Yeah.
Right now, stop sending that fan mail. I don't like it.
Maybe I'll have time for it when we open our bar in 55 years.
Yes.
But right now, I'm not opening any mail unless it's an email coming from my crimson.edu email account. Because I'm a very studious student, and that's all I care about.
You are correct.
I don't care about Twitter updates or Steak and Shake coupons or anything like that.
No.
I just want to read the newsletter that comes to me every single day that I get an alert on my phone for, and I read top to bottom every single morning, like every student at the University of Alabama does.
Speaking of which, how do you feel about those tornado warnings we do just about every Wednesday of each month? Not every Wednesday, sorry, the first Wednesday of each month.
It's very scary.
Yeah, I think everyone at the same time gets calls and emails and texts, and there's an alarm that goes off. And at first, when it all first starts happening, you go into hyper mode and you're like, what's going on?
I think they do this at pretty much every major college campus. So, hopefully people who don't go to Alabama can kind of relate to this. But it's terrifying. It's because when everybody's because you can just stand on the quad or inside one of the big halls and look at people answering their phones at the same time, and it feels like you're getting hacked.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty sure it was just in response to the tornadoes a few years ago, because I'm sure they didn't have it before then.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, it's a good thing that we have it, but it's kind of terrifying.
Oh, it's very scary. Which reminds me, speaking of weather, another person who has reached out and is interested in doing our podcast, weatherman James Spann.
Yeah, James Spann, the man.
He's very, tech savvy. He does his Facebook Live things every week or so, and he was like, man, these guys would really give me a good opportunity to talk about the weather on a completely audio format where you can't see any sort of weather projections, just sort of
exactly.
He's going to go more of the morning radio, kind of just a rundown of the temperature and stuff like that, very basic stuff.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about it because, boy, do I see a bunch of sunset pics on Twitter sent to James Span.
He loves
those sunset pics, and not once has he retweeted my mother's, and they've always been beautiful.
A true travesty.
I'm bitter for her. I don't know how she feels on the subject, but every time she takes a just wonderful sunset picture and sends it to does that little @ symbol, puts James Span name with it, and she does not get a retweet, and it's very upsetting. I think something should be done about it.
Well, since James is a listener, maybe he'll maybe we'll start.
I can talk to him when he comes on the show.
Yeah, great.
But to get to our topic, we've talked a lot about nothing. So let's get down to it.
And we'll talk more and more about like people who are interested in coming on the show, and maybe like we'll give you some Twitter polls on like you guys can vote on who we actually respond to, because getting that reply is very valuable right now. We're a hot commodity.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear that topic, dude.
So, Vincent, I wanted to talk to you about something that's not new. In fact, it's rather old, but...
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
The Statue of Liberty.
No.
Older?
I would say a little newer than that.
Okay, the Rolling Stones.
Okay, it's more of a visual kind of thing than...
Kaleidoscopes. No, that's older.
No, it still has to do with performance, but it's not listening per se.
Those...
How about I just tell you?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so...
I should have thought of that.
So reality TV.
Oh, yeah. That was going to be my next guess.
Okay, so it started in about 1948.
Really?
Around that time.
Wow, you've done your research, huh?
Yeah, he... I don't remember the guy's name anymore.
Who cares?
But he came up with this show and just like... it was kind of like a hidden camera show almost, but he would, go out and do these things and like... He would pull pranks on people and just catch it on video. And that was like one of the first like reality TV shows.
Interesting. Do you know the name?
I did when I looked it up, but I can't remember now. But we can put it in the description if you want.
Sure.
But yeah,
it's not Candid Camera, is it?
Yes.
That's it? Okay,
yes, that's it.
I've always... People talk about it, and I've never known what it is.
Yeah, it's Candid Camera.
Okay, great.
Actually.
Wow, I'm so smart.
Yeah, so it's a super funny that's like one of the first few. There wasn't a clear like first, but that was
he was truly
early
the Ashton Kutcher of his day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
and so something I just kind of want to talk with you about. It's come to this point in our day of how it's called reality TV, and yet a lot of it is
so unreal.
Is very fake and not
very
real.
like not real. Yeah,
and so I just kind of want to talk to you about that, as well as why do we like it so much?
Because it's so funny. It's so funny is the thing. Why do we to tackle it a little more seriously? Why do we like reality TV?
Because when I watch it, I'm horrified.
What's a show you watch a lot?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of reality TV.
Yeah.
But one that I have seen in passing, like whether it be like Survivor or American Idol, or I have seen an episode or two of The Bachelor.
Sure, yeah.
And it's just... it's crazy to me how stupid and bad these shows are, and yet we are glued to it.
Yeah.
And just take it all in and can't look away. We can't look away, Cooper.
No, yeah. I think it's just like we see these people and to our knowledge they're just like us. They give them these elaborate like backstories where these guys is just folks.
Right.
And they're not special. Because, like, probably my biggest, like, reality TV experience is probably American Idol. Mm-hmm. I watched a good, because there were like 3 years in a row where there were like dudes from Alabama on like every season.
Like Taylor Hicks and Ruben
Bo
Studdard
Bice,
and Bo
yeah,
Bice.
yeah. Them, yeah, those three guys.
three.
And I watched all 3 of those seasons just because, like, as a young kid, like, the novelty of somebody from Alabama, like, being on, like, this huge famous show.
Yeah,
was a
and
point
especially someone as
pride to
local
me.
as those people.
As
like Helena and Pelham,
yeah,
Alabama.
It's pretty nuts, yeah. So, so I think that's a part of it. Like, you pick these people that you just kind of, like, support and whose stories you can kind of like relate with, and then you're just like, oh wow, well if they can do it, I can do it. I can eat a liter of bugs on TV and get paid $1 million.
Right.
Which, did you ever watch Fear Factor?
I never did.
I watched
mainly
like,
for that reason.
I
I don't
yeah,
want to watch
like,
someone eat bugs.
I watched like one episode, and it was like, it's like, oh, you gotta go swim in a tank full of eels, and it's like, I'm not. I'm checking out. I hate this. Yeah.
But one that comes to mind as we were just talking was Duck Dynasty.
Oh yeah.
You know that came and went like a like gasoline.
Well, I think everybody kind of got annoyed with those guys.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain population of people that still really like them, but they're ugh.
Yeah, because now that we get on that, I think there's some truth to what you were saying, is that it's just folks and it's just people like us, because those guys are from where is it in Louisiana? Monroe. They're from Monroe, Louisiana, and I know one of our friends from high school, Ryan Nichols, his family was from Monroe, and like they knew where those guys lived. Like it was like they're somewhat connected, almost kind of neighbors, and yet these guys were a national hit. And the funny thing about it is, every time I watch that show, I don't think they did a day's work. I would watch that show, and not once did they ever make a duck call, and that was whole story.
I think that operation is pretty much moved on to. Well, so I went to Viva Las Vegas with my dad a few years back, kind of like for my 16th birthday, and we went, like, we saw the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show, and very young for Las Vegas, and like so like like I was with my dad, and we'd just be walking, and people would be like trying to hand us like flyers for escorts and stuff like that, and like it was just like I knew what it was, and like it was just like very uncomfortable doing that, like with my dad, so young. But I went to Las Vegas, and we went to the Pawn Stars pawn shop.
Oh, okay.
Which is the worst thing in the world.
Oh,
because
why is that?
For several reasons. One, it's not like they're there like all the time. Like, there are employees that work there when they're not filming, you never see them on camera or anything. Right. They're wearing shirts that have like the who does Pawn Stars? Is that History?
Sure.
Whoever it's
History,
it's like branded Pawn Stars shirts that have like the History logo on it and stuff like that, and they clearly hate this job so much. You don't see, it's not like Old Man or whatever. He's not like, that dude goes into like a hydration chamber the minute that he's done filming. Otherwise, he will like shrivel up and die before they can film the next episode. But like, and the other thing is that it's super tiny. Somehow you get the impression from the show that it's like a pretty big place. Yeah. But it's not.
I feel like that just happens with camera work.
Definitely. Everything seems bigger on
right, Wilson?
Screen. Yeah. And third is that most of it is merchandise for the show.
It's not actual.
Yeah, like,
ugh, that's so upsetting.
There's like one counter that's like actual like pawn stuff, and it all sucks because they're saving all the good stuff for like to put out, to wheel it out for when they film.
Right.
But most of it, like my dad bought 2 Chum-Lee bobbleheads that I think he meant to give out as gifts, and they're still like sitting in our garage or something like that. They're like $20 a pop. I think they were like discounted at $20.
Jeez.
I mean, they're not tiny.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
That's
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so, but that show is awesome.
Yeah.
That show is great. I love Pawn Stars because these people that they get to be the experts are it. Some of these like hobbies are so esoteric because it's like, oh yeah, we got the guy who owns the car that JFK got shot in. I better call up my buddy who's an expert in cars JFK got shot in. And these incredibly specific. Yeah. Like I can't think of any real ones right now.
Yeah,
but it's stuff like like a dude brings in like the periscope from a submarine and he's got a buddy who's a submarine expert who is within like driving distance of Las Vegas, Nevada. Like how do you why isn't he
What kind of degree do you get for that? Be an expert.
Submarine expert? Probably liberal arts.
Probably. So something else I wanted to kind of talk about.
First, I think this is a great opportunity to take our first commercial break.
Oh, you're so right.
We landed a sponsor this week.
Yeah, let's read off that.
And it's
card.
let me read the copy that they send us. This week's episode of viseNvincent is sponsored by Nelson's Fake Tears.
What about
Have you heard of Nelson's?
You know, I feel like it rings a bell, but I don't know. What is it? Tell the listeners, what is Nelson's Fake Tears?
Have you ever had an event that you've just got to cry at? A funeral, wedding, or baptism, but you just don't think you can muster up those tears? Try Nelson's Fake Tears. This special blend will moisturize your skin, clean your pores, and give you the best cry that you've had ever since your soul died long ago and you can't feel genuine emotion anymore. I've used Nelson's, and you have as well, Taylor.
Yeah, they sent us one of those samples.
Yeah, like a little thing for our personal use. And it was great. My brother was out skateboarding a couple weeks ago, and he had a real bad fall.
Yeah,
and he
like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, kind of like Humpty Dumpty, and like we thought maybe he broke his leg.
Oh shoot!
And I was, really it was
concerned.
like a real emotional moment, and I felt a genuine concern for him, but not enough to get those old tear ducts all cleaned out.
Right.
So I just wiped on a bit of Nelson's, and within minutes,
had those waterworks going.
I got all of the brother credit that I needed.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's all you can ask for.
Do you have any success stories with Nelson's?
Well, seeing as we just got the samples a few days ago, I haven't really had a lot of opportunities to use them other than, alone in my room.
Yeah.
And except those are real tears. So I just kind of added to the bottle.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So no, I haven't had any experience yet, but I hope to be able to use them soon.
Well, that's great. And if you go to nelsonsfaketears.com/viseNvincent, you can get 25% off your first order. So
yeah, with that promo code. So go to nelsonsfaketears.com/viseNvincent. Get 25% off your first order. Yeah, thank you for that. Almost forgot about our
definitely
sponsor.
And we've got a lot of other sponsors down the pike. It's really exciting times for us. We're making a lot of money off this podcast. So
for sure.
And don't worry, it's all going straight into our wallets. We're not spending any of it on the show. It's all for personal gain.
And that education we so dearly desire.
Yes.
But anyway, let's get back to what we were talking. So we had mentioned we had started talking about reality TV and why we love it so much. I kind of wanted to touch base with you and just kind of ask you: do you think it has any detrimental effects to our health or like any sort of kind of psyche, or as society as a whole? Like sometimes like there's that concern with mothers and their kids playing violent video games. They'll be violent. You think these bad shows are affecting us in any sort of way?
I think no.
Okay.
I think that they get pretty mad. People get pretty mad at, like, you know, The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and stuff, and say, like, oh, well, this is, you know, tainting the sanctity of marriage. Like, if you can go on a game show and get married, like, what is it really to get married? And, like, nobody on that show is like, yeah, we're doing a real great thing here. You know, we're really, like, making people fall in love. Like, they know it's kind of, you know, it's a dumb thing. And I think that all of the good reality shows know that it's kind of stupid, and they lean into that.
Yeah, kind of embrace that.
Yeah, and so, I mean, is there, like, one person who's going to watch The Bachelor and be like, oh, love is a competition, I have to be conniving and evil to anybody that I see as an opponent when it comes to romance? Yeah, but, I mean, it's the same thing as saying there's one guy that's going to play Grand Theft Auto and then think it's cool to start, you know, stealing cars and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's just not... They're outliers.
Yeah.
So I think on the whole, reality TV, it's a huge waste of time. You shouldn't watch it if you want to be a productive
I definitely feel
person.
like I'm losing IQ points.
Yeah, so like you want to watch it if you plan on being productive, but it's not going to turn you into a psychopath or anything.
Yeah. Because, you know, definitely when I'm watching something, it's all... You know, we use the term guilty pleasure for a reason. You almost feel some sort of shame and guilt for just participating in this.
Right.
Which is, if we all feel that way, why is that, you know? I don't understand why it's such a bad thing. Because everyone knows it's stupid, but it's a way to waste time and be with your friends, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because the smartest people... are the people who turn it into a group thing. They like, hey, let's get together and have a survivor party, or, you know, let's get a bunch of the ladies together, get wine drunk and watch The Bachelorette. Or all the dudes together and get wine drunk and watch Bachelorette. Like, I'm not, you know, it's all pretty gender equal. But I think that's kind of the way to do it. Turn it into a social experience.
Yeah.
And not something...
And have fun with it.
And not you watching 10 episodes of Wipeout on your laptop and being like, man, it would be fun to run that obstacle course, huh? Do you think... So, Wipeout's not still going, right? That's done?
Oh,
are they done?
Dear God, I hope not. I mean, it's...
Okay.
I mean, it's entertaining to watch people...
If it's not, I wonder if that course is still up and if you can, like, go find it and, and run it. So, like, all of the water stuff is, like, stagnant, awful water. And so if you fall in, it's more than just, like a timeout on your run. You're probably going to get West Nile virus.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. What a terrible thing to think about.
The Wikipedia is using the word is instead of was. So, oh, no. 2014 and ended 3 whole years ago. That seems good to me.
Yeah. When did it start?
It started in 2008.
Wow, that's
which was probably when I was watching it. I watched a good bit of Wipeout too.
Yeah. I remember along those lines. I liked watching American Ninja Warrior.
Oh yeah, and see, I never really that wasn't my thing, but like it looks fun.
To me, it was funnier because. I would watch like the one that was in a different language, and so
really,
and they would be screaming for these people. It was just so funny to me. Like I didn't even care about the chorus; they just got so excited for this person, and to hear someone else be excited in a different language is for some reason really funny.
Have you ever looked up an episode of the Korean Saturday Night Live?
No.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's all cultural stuff for Korea.
Right, so we have no idea what's going on.
You cannot understand them, one, because of the cultural references, and two, because they're speaking Korean.
Right.
And so it's just totally... It's like watching like a British sketch comedy show. It's just completely... There's just no entry.
That's hilarious.
But Wipeout was a big bonding thing for me and my mom, I think. Because we both, like... One of the best types of humor that me and my mom both share is, like old people falling on America's Funniest Home Videos. Right. Like, that nervous, like... That's really funny, but, like... is it... And that kind of translates over to stuff like Wipeout, where, like, you know, you'll see these dunces, like, up there talking to the pretty girl, and like, yeah, so you're from Kansas, like, you know, you're not used to seeing inclines this steep, huh? And they'll be like, that's right, Candace. And then and you're like, so you're programmed to hate them because they're annoying.
Yeah.
And then they fall flat on their face off of a 20-foot drop into freezing cold water, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. They deserved it.
Yes, I think hate watching is huge with reality TV.
Yes.
I think that...
Oh, yeah, that's what makes the show go round.
Yeah, I think more than half of the people watching a lot of, like, you know, like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like, that's such like an overused one to call out. But I feel like a lot of the people who watch that are like, let's see what those awful sisters are up to this week.
Yeah.
What fresh hell awaits us? What is Courtney doing this week that I'm gonna hate and post about on Facebook?
Ugh, and then probably end up doing yourself. And
yeah, exactly. So hate watching is huge. I think that's bigger than like any sort of genuine love of these shows.
Yeah, and like you were saying with your mom, like bonding experiences.
Yeah.
Something that wasn't particularly reality TV show, but something my mom and I would watch was a lot of HGTV.
That's my mother's favorite.
That's like
thing,
like a mom thing, but like because my dad got promoted or moved did something with his job where he had to start working in Atlanta while we were still in Birmingham, and so my sister had already gone to college and my dad was in Atlanta for more than half the week, and so it was just kind of me and my mom at the house, and we'd we'd talk and about say the extent of what else we could say, and then just watch HGTV. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about houses and learned some vocabulary, like wainscoting and...
Ooh, what's that?
It's like that stuff, like, the white...
The speck, like the
no, like, so like in like the corner of a room that goes around the whole...
Oh, like crown molding?
Yeah,
it's
kind
that.
of synonymous, I think.
Okay, interesting.
Unless I'm totally wrong, in which case my mom will probably correct us in this. The comments. Or
we'll publish a retraction in episode 4.
I'll publish an apology.
And,
But
maybe you could do a segment, house facts.
House facts.
And just kind of like give us a cool house fact every episode.
Oh, but sorry to go off the rails a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But going from the HGTV and combining with the reality TV, something which I actually secretly love and that me and my mom watched a lot was it's a show where they it's Fixer Upper. Okay, sorry. They take a house that is in a not very good part of the neighborhood, and it's like kind of run down, and then they turn it into this amazing house where someone can actually live in it, and it's wonderful and beautiful.
Oh, nice.
And for within someone's budget, and it's all very nice and beautiful. But it's a fun little show.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I feel like we haven't done enough Borat stuff on this show yet.
Well, I mean, I've never seen Borat, so...
Ooh, let's watch Borat sometime soon.
I'd rather not.
No, Wilson thinks that's funny. It's great. Borat, I think, on first viewing, is like the funniest movie ever made.
Oh, really?
I genuinely think that. I think it kind of like, the appeal kind of like decreases after that first viewing, but some of the ridiculous... he goes to Birmingham in it.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so like, there's a novelty to it. We'll watch it sometime.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Cool.
I feel like we're kind of running out of steam here. You have anything else?
Yeah, let's. I did promise on Twitter to give my friends Tori and McKenna a shout out.
I see.
Because
hey, Tori McKenna.
Hey, Tori.
I know
and
them
McKenna. Too. Yeah. They're our friends.
Yeah.
I went to high school with them.
I didn't go to Disney World or anything.
Oh yeah, they got.
No one invited me to that.
they got me into Disney World a couple months ago, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad they're back in Alabama. I haven't seen them since they came back
to
Alabama, but I'm sure I'll see them soon. And
I can't even remember the last time I saw them. They should come up.
Yeah, we'll get him here sometime. We'll get him on the pod. They can talk about their Disney experience. And,
that'd be good.
They can sit down and watch whatever Disney movie we're on, and we'll have a little talk. It'll be great. So get ready to hear some guests because we're gonna get them on soon. We may do one more episode of just the two of us, and then
maybe next week we can get Mr. Mardi Gras to come. And
talk.
talk.
Mr. Mardi Gras himself, the man for which the event is named.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll fit through the door because
he's a rather
large
boy.
guy.
Yeah,
with that embracing the whole Fat Tuesday concept. But yeah, it's coming up, and I'm sure he would love to come talk about all the celebrations between New Orleans and Mobile and wherever else people celebrate.
We'll have to remember because for Santa you leave milk and cookies. For the Easter Bunny you leave carrots. For Mr. Mardi Gras you leave tequila shots and beads.
I think it's actually Crown Royal.
Crown Royal. Yeah. Okay.
Which I hope soon will be sponsored by, so we can have some of that during the podcast.
Let's hit them up and see if our brand is something they're interested in.
We can. When Mr. Mardi Gras comes, we can talk to him about it.
I feel like we're kind of the Crown Royal of podcasts.
Yeah, I mean we're the shortcut to a good time, right?
Yeah, shortcut to a good time. Hey, could you do us a favor, guys, and just start saying that phrase a lot? Because if you say it a ton, people will look it up, and hopefully we're going to manipulate Google searches in such a way that if you search that phrase, it'll just kind of link directly to our podcast.
I feel like that's a long distance away, but I am hopeful. That could definitely be a goal long term.
Yeah,